Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Last time on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure we had Green Tea and Sanctuary Part 3, where basically Bucciarati was dealing with Secco, and it was a hard-fought fight through the Roman underground, but eventually Bucciarati used a car tire in order to burst Secco's eardrums, because it wasn't going to affect Bucciarati because he's, dead. But yeah, and Bucciarati was able to defeat Secco, and he actually fell into the same garbage truck that Cioccolata was tossed into by Giorno. But at the end, Bucciarati's strength was giving out on him, and who would be there but Doppio? So yeah, got some problems. Oh, also Polnareff is here, so yeah. I guess we already kind of knew that, but yeah, we saw him. Polnareff's here. Anywho. But yeah, like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Here we go. Alrighty, well, we have finally seen Diavolo. That silhouette that we always see of the suit and, and him in the shadows, that doesn't look like him at all. Now, granted, I guess that's because Doppio wasn't wearing that, I guess it's because Doppio wasn't wearing that. It doesn't fully... I mean, it changes him. It changed his hair. It changed his hair like crazy. And it changes his physique. But he's still wearing Doppio's clothes. Well, he was. He took Doppio's shirt off because he's freaking jacked and handsome. So... oh, boy. He definitely doesn't look like a guy who has a teenage daughter, but it's neither here nor there. I mean, Jotaro's age is so inconsistent anyway. I only say that because Jotaro actually looked like he was 17 in that flashback. So, okay. Now, Chariot got hit by that arrow. That arrow is different. That arrow is different from the other arrows. But, I mean, we've seen what an arrow can do if it pierces a stand user. Because one of those arrows, which was just a standard arrow, pierced Yoshikage Kira again and gave him Killer Queen Bites the Dust. And it seems that this arrow is specifically different, and it pierced Silver Chariot, which, it's good to see Silver Chariot again. So now, that thing we saw at the end is that chariot. Is that Silver Chariot evolved? Because that seems to be a distinction, is that where a normal arrow pierced into Yoshikage Kira gave him a new ability, but still he retained Killer Queen as his stand. I'm wondering if this new arrow... I mean, they said they were formed from meteorites, so... honestly, maybe it's just like an evolution stone in Pokemon, Maybe it's a difference of a TM versus an evolution stone. A TM gives you a new move, gives you Bites the Dust. But a full evolution stone, or maybe even a mega evolution stone, maybe that's it. Maybe it's also a mega evolution. That's the question. Is this the new Chariot, or is this just a new form that Chariot can take? That is the question, isn't it? I mean, good news, it has legs. It has legs, and hell, this is the second time now that Polnareff has been able to get up after fighting Diavolo. I mean, and here's the other thing too. We are, right here. There's 6 more episodes left of part 5. 6. So I don't think we're going anywhere else, I think this is it. Man, Narancia needs to get off his ass and get out here and start scouting shit, Where the hell is he? Where's Narancia, with his freaking little bomber? Surely Giorno healed him. Okay, so, first off, Doppio. I still don't fully understand Doppio. How... I don't know, I guess it's just, he's just got another personality. It's just that unlike the other shows, it fully changes his physique, And it makes him look younger, It makes him look younger, specifically. Because that fortune teller was like, oh yes, you have a daughter that you're going to find. And Doppio was like, no, I'm too young to have a daughter, And Doppio has to figure out by now, right, that... I don't know, maybe Doppio doesn't care, Maybe Doppio doesn't actually care, but... I don't know. Okay, so Bucciarati is in a bad way. Bucciarati is in a very bad way that, he's barely holding on anymore. And he can only see and hear a soul at this point. I can only assume that's from... The only reason he can still... His body is still able to do that is because he still possesses his stand, So it's sort of the last functioning sense he has is stand sense. I mean, in a way that, like how when the Crusaders were underwater, they can talk to each other via their stands, So that's all he can see and hear at this point. But the boss is so similar... his aura is so similar to Trish's that it was able to fool Bucciarati. Again, though, Doppio doesn't really question that. My aura is exactly the same as my daughter, so he thinks that you're Trish now. And it's like, wait, what? It's like, Doppio doesn't think about that. It's like, well, wait a minute. That means your aura is in my body. That means we're the same friggin' person. Maybe Doppio does know, and he just denies it or something. I don't know. And everyone's at the Coliseum now. And yeah, so Polnareff and Diavolo have a history. They have a history. So, Diavolo uncovered the arrows. Specifically, he went to Egypt and uncovered the arrows and sold a number of them to Enyaba. How does this keep happening? Okay, so to keep track of this whole arrow tree, the arrows are gone. The arrows were gone for years after they were created. Eventually, they were found by Diavolo in the deserts of Egypt. He kept one for himself and sold the rest of them to Enyaba. Enyaba then used the arrow on Dio in order to give him the world, and which in turn gave the Joestars all of their stands. Then she gave an arrow to Yoshihiro Kira, who then used his arrow on his son Yoshikage in order to give him the stand Killer Queen. Eventually, that arrow was used again, A, to make the army that Kira never knew about and didn't care about, and B, pierce Kira again in order to give him Killer Queen Bites the Dust. Meanwhile, the original arrow that Diavolo kept, he gave to Pulpo? Wait a minute. Wait, where did Okuyasu's brother get an arrow? Did he also get that from Enyaba, or... Because he had an arrow. which eventually was taken by Otoshi Chili Pepper, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. They took it after killing Keicho Nijimura. Where did he get his? Fuck, my brain is shutting down. I don't know. How did that happen? We're smarter than this. Okay, but back to Italy. So Diavolo used the stand arrow, to give himself a stand. He used it to give himself a stand, which also, I guess, gave Doppio a stand. Because it gave him epitaph, or eulogy, or whatever the fuck it's called. But then, okay, but he said he only had the one arrow. He only kept the one arrow. The rest he sold to Inyaba. That arrow, which then was given to Pulpo, and Pulpo recruited new people into the Passione. But no one else, I guess. None of the other... Well, I mean, how many others were there? I guess there's a question. How many other capos were there? There was Mr. Pericolo, but he wasn't a stand user. Risotto was the head of the Hitman team, but I don't know if that means capo. I would imagine Risotto was probably on the same level as Bucciarati, under Pulpo. They made it sound like there were, like, a bunch, like 4 or 5 capos. We've really only met 2, haven't we? One was a stand user, one wasn't. So I guess if that's the case, then the stand user capo was given the arrow to recruit. And Diavolo, he let go because I guess he honestly probably didn't need it at that point. He had his stand, you know? He had his stand. And yeah, I guess it wouldn't matter, would it? Because even, like, I guess, you know, because we also had the boss's guards. The 2 really gay dudes. And that's fine. I'm just saying, they, like, of all the characters in Part 5, they were really, like, they were touching each other. It was nuts, man. Like, get a room. It's fine, but get a room. But anyway, that was a weird tangent. I don't know. But yeah, I guess that was just the one arrow that he gave that arrow to Pulpo, of all people. And Pulpo kept it and used Black Sabbath. Okay. The main thing, so Polnareff and Jotaro, which I guess, yeah, that's kind of it, isn't it? Because, like, that's kind of it for the Crusaders. Iggy, Kakyoin, and Avdol were all dead. So it was just left to Polnareff and Jotaro to find the arrows. And Jotaro he was covering Asia and America. And Polnareff was covering Europe and Africa. Which eventually led Polnareff to Italy. Jotaro, that would lead him back to Japan, where Keicho Nijimura was. And on top of that, he also had to go find Josuke. That was just a coincidence that those happened at the same time. That he had to go find the arrow, and also he had to go find Josuke. He also went to America, or he has to cover America. Huh. You know, I don't know a lot about Part 6. Doesn't it take place in America? Like, all I know about Part 6 is the main character, Jolene, and the fact that it takes place in America. That's like all I know about Part 6, really. So maybe that's foreshadowing. I don't know, but so did Polnareff ever go to Africa? I don't know. Okay, so I'm just like trying to wrap my head around all of this, but eventually Polnareff was looking for the arrow that the Passione had, but he didn't realize how powerful it and Diavolo was. Diavolo. Keep wanting to just say Diavolo, because that just sounds... I guess just because Diavolo sounds like Dio, like, a bit. But Diavolo obviously sounds more like Diablo, which is which is an Italian word, it's Italian for devil. So I get why it's pronounced that way. I just want to say Diavolo, It doesn't matter. Okay. So Polnareff was injured, left for dead, managed to survive, and eventually he got this arrow, which is specifically different from the rest of the arrows. And now, unfortunately, he is encountering Diavolo again. All right, I guess there's no more to say about that. But yeah, I did like what he was doing with combating Emperor Crimson by using the blood drop. So yeah, when suddenly there's just like 5 more of them, then and then you're able to attack. And he did get Diavolo, which was pretty cool. So that was interesting. And then yeah, Doppio. I kind of wonder, is he gonna change back to Doppio at all? I don't know. He might not, because he's kind of, this is kind of it. So that honestly may just be it for Doppio. That kind of sucks. Like, I kind of want more of Doppio, but oh well, there's nothing more you can do. It's time to go, man. Which means if we're not going anywhere else, the final battle of Part 5 takes place at the Colosseum in Rome. Yo, that's fucking badass. That's what I wanted in Part 2. They said they were going to fight in the Colosseum at Rome, and then eventually they went to, like, Switzerland or something. I don't know. And that's fine. I like the end of Part 2. It's great, but you promised me the Colosseum, so now we're going to get the friggin' Colosseum. Oh, boy. And yeah, even though Polnareff was mortally injured, he even got the sparklies and everything, Chariot was pierced by the arrow. So has he evolved? Has Chariot evolved? That would be interesting. I don't know. And the figure we see there, you don't see a sword or anything like Chariot would have, but the stuff on his shoulders reminds me of Chariot. So I'm thinking that's Chariot. Chariot's been evolved, which, I mean, that's fucking dope, Chariot gets a new power. It can't just be Jotaro. Makes me wonder what the evolved form of Star Platinum would look like. Star Platinum's already way too OP because he has the time stopping and everything, Which I guess that's, because that's his special ability, but, he only figured that out at the end of Part 3, And then, yeah, what would the evolved forms of, like, Magician's Red look like? He's even buffer chicken. I don't know. At that point, he might just be Colonel Sanders. Who knows? But yeah, I think our boy Polnareff, I think he's still got a little bit left in him. So, and not only is he there, the rest of them are there too. What would an evolved form of like 6 bullets be? Would they just all be like 6 human-sized dudes? They look exactly the same, but they're just man-sized. That'd be fucking terrifying. That'd be fucking terrifying if these 6, yellow dudes with cocaine eyes just start running at you like Jesus Christ. That'd be fucking creepy. Anyway, yeah, well, this was interesting. Yeah, I guess that's it. Boy, I really had to, like, run places to try to figure out what... These arrows are weird, but now we have the earliest point of the arrows by a major character. Diavolo found them and sold them to Enyaba, who eventually used the arrow on Dio, and then one of the other arrows was eventually used on Kira. So now, Dio and Kira now tie into Diavolo. At least Part 3 Dio. None of this was ever, you know, a thing in part 1, obviously, so... Remember the mask? Remember the stone mask? Yeah, back in the day. Man, if you made these out of a meteorite, why couldn't you make a mask? Keep in theme, man. Why is it arrows now? I missed the stone mask. Anyway, we got 6 episodes left of part 5, and I'm very curious where we are going with these. But yeah, that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist for all of my JoJo's Bizarre Adventure reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.